That's called, that should get the Oscar for best usage of a LinkedIn profile. So, actually, first of all, thank you for, I remember NASCOM meetings of many years ago, and one could not imagine that you would have stuff like getting all of us to dance on stage or having somebody talk about travel. So, whatever it is, it's a good change. I hope you guys like it, and congratulations. This is awesome to be here. So I've got 30 minutes, and Mukund asked me to say, look, there's this travel deck that you put up. Unfortunately, that deck was, 100-odd slides that got some 120,000 views or something on SlideShare. So could you present that? So I said, look, that's a long deck. I'm happy to share that. So for your edification, I've actually tried to cut it down to about half the length, and I'll try to ram through this essentially as quickly as I can. If you have questions, I'm happy to take questions at any point in time. Where do I put this? Okay, I'm basically a travel junkie. For me, it used to be a once-a-year thing. Now it's a once-a-month thing. I usually travel out of the country maybe 10, 12 times a year now. So it's really like a junkie fix. I'm too old to do the backpacking stuff, but I'm also too cheap to pay for 5-star. So my life is all about trying to find 5-star luxury at 2-star and 3-star prices. And I'm happy to share whatever is out there. So this is a really misleading projection of the world because it's a Mercator projection. But nevertheless, the green is the countries that I've been to, and yellow is what I've not been to as yet. And there's also one Antarctica at the bottom that didn't show that I've been to. So mostly when I talk to people, the first kind of answer I get is, I don't get leave, I can't go. And that's actually not true. You absolutely do get leave, and if you're sitting here with your supervisor or boss, or if you're the boss, or if you have a boss, please do tell them so. What I managed to do, actually on a whim, was I used to work in this US firm, and I used to get 2 weeks off a year. And come appraisal time, they wanted to give me an increment. And I said, actually, I don't want money, give me a week more. So it actually threw the entire HR department into a spin. So they ended up giving me both, the increment and an extra week of leave. I tried it the next year, I got another week of leave and an increment. I tried it the year after that. By the end of it, I was getting 5 weeks of leave a year, and I got more money every year. Try it. It might work this time. It really confuses the HR people. Right? So do it, right? The next thing I hear is, I don't have money. Actually, you don't really need very much. And hopefully, there's not a lot. You can travel pretty well if you have 10,000 bucks within India, if you have 20,000 bucks out of India, including air travel, including everything else. And we'll talk about that. Read off. For many of you who haven't traveled, the first thing you see is newspapers are full of this 3 days, 2 nights, superstar Virgo, Singapore, 3 days, Phuket and stuff like that. I said, please don't. That actually takes all the fun out of travel, and hopefully I can spend a little more time talking about an interesting way to do this, which doesn't really involve pre-packaged tours. For me, most of the fun in travel is really packaging it for yourself, not letting somebody else package it for you. We come to the next thing about visas and stuff. I have an Indian passport. What will this Indian passport do? So the interesting thing is, I don't know if you guys know, the Indian passport can actually take you to 59 countries without a prior visa. I didn't know if you knew that. So that basically means that at any weekend you want to go, there's 59 countries you can go without getting a prior visa. If you want to know, actually, I maintain a list at that URL called open/visa. You can go check it out. And I try to update it every 3 months. Yeah. So there's a list of the first 28 are where visa is not required. The 31 is visa on arrival. So both of those work actually well. What's really interesting is the next two. You can't see very much, but as long as you remember that, that's fine. Next 44 is if you have a Schengen visa, even though there's only 22 Schengen countries, there's 22 other countries which are not part of Schengen that will accept you even if you have a Schengen visa. And if you have a UK visa, another 15 countries accept it. If you have a US visa, another 18 countries accept it. So the interesting thing is, if you do have valid US, UK, and Schengen visas, you can add another 50 countries to this list of 59 countries. That's 110 countries. That's more than half the planet on just 2 or 3 visas. So even if visas are a problem, I just suggest get long-term US, get long-term UK. It's a bit of a bother to get a long-term Schengen, but I have actually managed one, and we can, if you pay me enough, I'll tell you how to do that. Right? So you can actually travel there. One of the more interesting things I've actually gotten is I've got a long-term Malaysian visa. And the only reason for that is AirAsia flies out of Malaysia and flies through domestic, right? So all the changes, if you have a Malaysian visa, you can actually go via AirAsia to anywhere else. So it's a pretty important visa. Not that Malaysia is not important enough, but once you do it, it's actually more important to pass through Malaysia if you want to use AirAsia. who to go with, right? So don't go with the obvious. Sorry, I have to go with my husband, I have to go with my wife. Not necessary. Maybe somebody else's husband, somebody else's wife, right? So don't necessarily go with the obvious. And you'll find out. In fact, if you really want to figure out how you match up with another person, probably the best test of love in a relationship is to really be the stranger in a strange land when both of you are out of your familiar circumstances, both of you are out of your, where you've really you've got nothing but exactly yourself and only you to figure out how to make things work. So that's probably a suggestion for you guys. Should I take kids? And I've got a bit of a slightly anti-cultural thing out here. I kind of read somewhere a long time ago, and I seem to verify it myself when I look at my own memories. But basically, I sense that kids don't really remember anything that they did or grown-ups don't really remember anything that they did as kids before the age of 6 or 7 years old. Think about it. Do you remember any place that you've gone to before the age of 5 or 6? Probably not. So why do you want to spend a huge chunk of money to take your kid to Disneyland or Disney World? Screw it. Leave them behind here. Give the in-laws and the grandparents something to do anyway. Right? Go, have fun. You don't need to take your kids. So I actually kind of practice this and I try really hard. And with my kids, I don't really tend to take them out till they're about 6, 7 years old. And after that, it's fun because they begin remembering stuff. Till then, they're really not just a pain in your ass, but everybody else is on the flight and everywhere else. Just dump them. That's right. And if you do take kids, don't go with, okay, I have to take 24 diapers from here. And I once had this friend who came from the US carrying 16 gallons of water back to India. I don't know if there's good water in India. The thing is, she was born and brought up in Hyderabad, went to the US and said, oh, suddenly I have to come back with water. It's quite ridiculous. Wherever you go, kids shit. So diapers are available. Wherever you go, there are kids. So milk is available, right? So don't take all this crap with you and go. Go light. Travel light. Sorry. Phone is not supposed to go off. That's somebody objecting. Maybe my kid or something. Sorry. Yeah. That's actually one of my investing company CEOs saying, what are you doing? Now we'll really talk about when to go. And really, I kind of believe it's almost like saying, if somebody had to tell you, look, when should I come to Bangalore? Are you going to say, this is a good time, this is not a good time? You say, come back. Right? I really believe you should stop thinking about life in terms of good seasons and bad seasons. Any place where people live is a good enough time to go there. As long as people can live there, you can go there. Right? And even if they don't, you can still go there. I've been to Antarctica in December, and, there wasn't a huge population, but it's a great time to go there. The other thing is this, okay, I'm going to do this for my big holiday this year. I'm going to have 2 holidays in the year, one in summer, one in winter. Why? Try this entire thing. Start trying this thing called micro holidays. Take 3 days off. Go somewhere. Take 4 days off. Take 3 days off, you can do a pretty nice trip to Maldives. Take 4 days off, you can do a pretty nice trip to Hong Kong. Take 5 days off, you can do a pretty nice trip to London and its surroundings. Take 7 days off, you can go to the US. Take 2 weeks off, you can really, take a cruise in Alaska. So start looking at micro holidays. Chunk your life down into smaller bits so you can enjoy more travel. Any long weekend, go, right? Often, off-season is really the best season. And in fact, in many cases, the most underappreciated seasons. I love Goa in the rains. It's empty. The beaches are empty. It's so beautiful. Nobody comes there. The hotels, every 5-star, is selling its rooms at 3,000 rupees instead of, 13,000 rupees at that point in time. Or go to Scandinavia in January, all right? It's minus 25, but it's so beautiful. That's the time you go see the Northern Lights. You don't see the Northern Lights in June and July. And it's really an incredible experience. Go during the off-season, see how people live. And the same place looks so different than if you go at the rest of the time. Go to Goa during New Year's, it's crazy. Go to Goa in the rains, it's something else altogether. So off-season, and also the fares, the cost, everything is really, really low. So welcome the off-season, right? The other interesting thing is Indian holidays are a great time. January 26th, great time to go see the Northern Lights. I actually went and saw Aurora Borealis on January 26th. August 15th, 16th, holiday time. Great time to maybe go see EDM concerts if you're into music all over Europe. Or October, November, great time to see, for example, the Thai festival of Songkran, which happens in Chiang Mai and elsewhere. So there are sites which will tell you what's happening where. So lots of times and places which actually coincide around Indian holidays where you can figure out there's something really interesting happening somewhere in the world. Kids' school holidays. Last year I did an 18-day, 21-band tour of Europe with my son, who's a little crazy about electronic dance music. We saw 21 bands perform in 18 days. We just followed the bands all over Europe. We drove 3,000 kilometers in a car. Awesome way to bond, right? And the other thing is, don't be scared of the cold or the heat. It's really something else. I was at minus 35 in northern Scandinavia this year, well inside the Arctic Circle. It's really something else. You appreciate little things. And when you come into a room that's minus 10, you say, warm, right? It's really something else to experience that. Similarly, to go to, a desert in summer is really something else to experience. Go to Egypt in summer, it's really something else. You don't have to go and say, let's find the best season. There's something special about going to a place in a different season, right? Where do we go to? I mean, there are sites called Jubilee. Jubilee is one site, but there's an interesting business we want to start. Jubilee is not doing well. But just to be able to say, I want to go to what's happening in Europe between 18th of November and 24th of November, and it lists every concert, everything that's happening everywhere. So I think there are great places that allow you, there are sites like this, and there's also a few other sites, and also there's an opportunity, because nobody's really doing this for India, to figure out, if I want to go to this place at this point in time, what is happening, right? There are sites which will tell you that. You want to see Sakura, the cherry blossom festival in Japan, great time to go. Figure out the time, just go there. The other thing is, for a lot of people starting out, they say, I'm going to go do 5 countries. I'll do Spain, I want to go to Germany, I want to do England, and I want to do Italy. Don't do that. You've got a whole lifetime ahead. Take it slow. At most, do 1 or 2 little countries. Spread your time between those little areas. Don't just say, I want to do that as though it's your last trip. It's not going to be your last trip. You're going to earn more next year. You're going to go back there. Go deeper into a country, and otherwise it's like a buffet saying, I'm going to have a bite of Chinese and a bite of Scandinavian and a bite of Mughlai. It's really never satisfying. Go deep into whatever it is you're doing. We'll come to one of the interesting things for air travel. If I look at all the theory, it says that Tuesday afternoon is the best time to buy a ticket, Wednesday afternoon is the best time to fly, blah, blah, blah. It's actually not true. The curve kind of goes like, the prices are low till about 2 weeks before a flight, they go up. And again, 1 day before the flight, again, it drops down again. So either you should be the planner that buys 2 weeks before, which most of you are. If you're like me, I buy 1 day before, right? In fact, 2 weeks ago, I did a trip from Bombay to San Francisco on United. And I bought a ticket 39 minutes before the flight took off at 62,000 rupees round trip, including a stopover in New York, Bombay, San Francisco, right? It's possible. And there's no big deal. I mean, so actually, at that point in time, they're selling tickets at whatever price. Right? They're selling tickets at whatever price because they just want more bums on planes, more bums on seats. Right? You can get great deals at the last minute, if you're like me. Or if you like to plan, you want some semblance in life, then do it 2 weeks before. Right? Get on every single frequent flyer program. I'm a proud member of Laotian Airlines frequent flyer program, Vietnam Airlines frequent flyer program. It doesn't matter. I don't know what value it is, but one day maybe something will be of value. It's free, right? And it so happened that I went to Vietnam some 3-4 years ago. I forgot I was a member of some Vietnam airline program. I went there again 2 years ago, and I happened to figure out there was a number somewhere from my email. I put it in. They upgraded me to business class, whatever passes for business class out there. And I didn't know. It was simply because I was a member. They were so happy to see somebody who was a member of the program. They upgraded. They updated you. Right? Get all the email updates. Jump onto every airfare sale. When you're on email, you can just categorize on whatever your email program, Google or whatever it is, Gmail, to get these sent to a particular place. They're now announced on Twitter and Facebook. Follow them, track them, and just jump onto stuff. Right? AirAsia, you guys are great. You can fly AirAsia from here. We're waiting for AirAsia to launch in Bombay. It's an incredible deal. Right? I was seeing the other day, Cochin, Osaka return 12,000 rupees. Yeah? Just advertise on the site. But the other side of it is only one bag, 7 kilos. And if it's 7.2 kilos, you're dead. Seriously, right? And charge for everything. I mean, I'm waiting for the time when like Ryanair is considering a proposal to charge you to take a leak. I don't know if it's by ML or what they're going to charge you, right? But AirAsia is likely to do that, given that, so, but they charge for it. You want a seat, the chance to reserve a seat, you pay for it. You want to check in baggage, you pay for it. Depending on what time of the day you check in, you pay for it even more. So almost nothing is free on an airline such as this. Right? In India, if you want to get reasonable fares, and I know Alok is there, I'm a big fan of his site Ixigo, which does a pretty damn good job. And actually the cheapest OTA itself, while Alok is a meta search, is Akbar Travels Online, right? Akbar does this great deals on any international flight. You do this and they give you some, like another $5,000 off. So Akbar is a place that I tend to buy my international tickets from. And if you want to do this from outside India, there's Skyscanner and Kayak. And Skyscanner has a wonderful function that you can sit back and say, I want to go sometime in this week and come back sometime in this week, check every airline in the world and tell me what the best fare is at that time, right? So Skyscanner is an app that I use really, really often on my phone. In fact, I was sitting with my son, I remember last December, and saying, where should we go? I usually take him out every year. And he came back and said, let's go to the US. I said, look, come on, man. Going before Christmas, coming back after New Year will be really, really expensive. So I gave it a shot, went on Skyscanner. I found a fare for 27,000 rupees round trip. Bombay, New York, return.